All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. We want to keep everything moving along. We're only going to keep you here about 20, 30 minutes. But I want you to walk away with some action items today because we're talking about why most trade show leads never turn into sales. We're talking through some of the challenges that most booth exhibitors experience and then take you through a four-step framework that you can put into play. And the thing is, it's not overly complicated and it will work with your existing booth. You don't have to redo your whole trade show strategy. We just want to give you some things that you can put on top of what you're already doing to really maximize the value of a trade show. Before we jump into this, I'll tell you a little bit about me. My name is Nate Stockard. I'm president of Blue Atlas Marketing. And Blue Atlas Marketing is almost 15 years old. And we've been helping B2B clients in industrial, manufacturing, professional services sectors really maximize their marketing strategy, the marketing expenditure, trade show marketing, and things of that nature. Really help it bring in more leads, convert more leads, build credibility so that those leads turn into sales and then driving traffic. It's kind of a three-step process that we really take most of our clients through. And one of those areas that a lot of our clients utilize are trade shows. If you're an industrial company, manufacturing company, a lot of times the best way to get in front of some of your target companies and prospects and build a quick relationship is a trade show, which is great. But sometimes they're really expensive. And that's what we're talking about a little bit today to get started. The harsh reality of a trade show is, you could spend $50,000 plus on a booth and the staff spend everything. And that's just for a small 10 by 10 booth. If you're in a 20 by 20 or 20 by 40, big island display and everything else, then you're spending a lot of money to go to a trade show. You're gonna have 10 people running around. You can only imagine. If you've done a trade show like that, you know how big the number gets. 50,000 is really just for a small booth. But that's a lot of money to spend to walk away when I just don't know if I really got qualified leads. I don't know if I really got anything from it. But we met some people, we did a great job. It was fun, but I don't really know if I got a positive ROI out of it. Are you actually going to turn around and get 50,000 plus in sales as a result of spending that $50,000 to actually exhibit at a trade show? So besides the spend, a big problem that we see a lot of our clients when they first come to us, a lot of other big companies, massive companies, big brands that you've heard of, they deal with the same thing. Piles of unqualified leads. I was talking with somebody yesterday, actually, and they were saying, what's the difference of this framework you're talking about? What's the difference between that and, and like the badge scanners, and the things that the shows kind of give you to, make it easy for you to capture all the leads. I said, the biggest thing is none of them are qualified. You have no idea who they are, what their role is, what they need. If they need you, they're just coming by to get your free mug or bag or, cute giveaway that you're doing. And they're really unqualified. Yes, you scan their badge to know they were there, but you can get that kind of information off the internet and save the $50,000 that you spent on this trade show. So that's a big problem that I see. And then when your sales team, even if they are the people at the booth, the sales team comes back and really when they say, is this show working for us? A lot of times they're extremely frustrated. I see some teams are frustrated at the show because they're not getting enough traffic into their booth. And I see a lot of salespeople frustrated afterwards. They're just not closing business. You say, hey, I got 250 badge scans. They're not turning into sales meetings and they're not turning into business. And so this is what we're really talking about today, trying to fix. There are three big leaks that happen with just about everybody that we deal with when they come in talking about trade shows, going, how can we do a better job? One, they're getting the wrong leads captured. Like I said, scans does not mean intent. Just because somebody's at that particular show or conference doesn't mean they're their best fit for you. Doesn't mean they're even in the market. Maybe they're the best fit as a company, but they're not in the market for you. But you got their badge scan. You walk away and go, look at all these leads. They're really the wrong leads. Now, some of them might be the right leads, but do you want to waste all that time going through hoping that you'll figure out that they're the right lead after you send the 56th email to them and you make all of these phone calls and voicemails, and then finally they say, oh yeah, I'm the right lead. There's a lot of effort in there that we can actually eliminate with our framework. There's no qualification. Even if they are a good lead, good company, and maybe they're in the market for it, are they qualified for you? They may not have the budget. They may not have the type of projects. They sound like a good fit, but you don't know anything about them. And so there's no way to qualify when you're just standing there in your booth. You've got your giveaways, your flyer, cool, maybe product display, and you're scanning badges. And lastly, most of the time, what happens? You stand there in your booth, you collect these business cards, you do the banner badge scan, and you get all of this information. But the follow up is either really really slow because let's say you meet somebody on the first day of a 3-day show, you're not going to really have an opportunity. Sometimes you'll go back to hotel room and maybe send out a few emails. Hey, it was good to meet you. Let's set up a sales call. Maybe a lot of people I talk to, they're too tired. By the end of the day, and you do all the different things, and you got the happy hours and everything else. You're pretty much crashing when you get back to that hotel room because you got to do this all over again the next day. You meet somebody first day, 3 days later, you pack up. Then you get home. There's travel and everything else. You literally could be looking at 5 days before you send your first email or make your first phone call. And often that's manual and it's generic. You're just sending the same email to everybody. Hey, good to meet you. Can we set up a sales call? Nothing to do with that person because you don't know anything about them. You haven't qualified them. And all you do is scan their badge. These are the 3 biggest leaks of where your ROI is going and why there's a problem with your trade show setup. 90%, these same 3 leads, honestly, are in 90% of the booths that we audit. When somebody comes and says, hey, show me what I can do better, this is where it's at right here. It's not, we need a prettier booth. We need a better gimmick to draw people in. We need a better giveaway. What's the trending giveaways? If you've followed any of our blogs, and we have lots of articles about the best giveaways and those kind of things, but ultimately, that's not what it is that's costing you money and not delivering positive ROI. It's ultimately these 3 things right here. So here's a little bit of an idea before we get into our framework, and I give you the action items to take away and what to do to make your trade show worth a lot more money for you. Here's a great example. You might walk away, typical exhibitor, walk away with 250 leads because you scanned all of these badges. Problem is you might get a 1 to 5% conversion. I will tell you a lot of audits that we've looked at, they're not even hitting that. So you might get a 1 to 5 conversion. The thing is you're immediately leaving 50, 150, depending on the cost of your goods or services or products, you might be living, $500,000 on the trade show floor. You're not getting qualified leads. You're not drawing people in that are qualified leads. And I'll be honest with you, the people that want to stop by your booth just because you're there, they're usually not the qualified decision maker that you want to talk to. They're usually somebody that's either there for continuing education credits and they just want your free stuff. They've got the bag they're taking to kids. They're not going to remember your name and they're walking through, but you'll put them in your pile of your 250 leads that you got and say, hey, we did a great job at the trade show. But did you actually do a great job? And most of the time in our audits, we see people come home from the trade show, sales team does a little bit of follow-up, and no one tracks what kind of ROI they actually got from the show. They're doing it, gut feeling. I think the show was great. We do it every year. We got to be there. But ultimately, if you put it down on paper, you would see the painful truth is trade shows don't fail. It's the systems that fail you. And you're losing money when you do these trade shows. Yes, there's the brand awareness aspect. And I do agree with that. There are some instances where you have to be at a show. It may not necessarily be profitable. We have one client, they're a big name in their industry. They have a very niche specific industry. They've been around for over 50 years. Most people know who they are. They still have to go to quite a few of the association trade shows. Fortunately, they're fairly inexpensive. They have to go to them because it's more of client relations for that type of situation. That's not what we're talking about here. If you know all the people there, most of them are clients, then that is a client retention strategy, not a lead generation strategy. And that's what we're talking about here. When you're going to a show to get leads, you want to get leads and good leads, not just a whole bunch of badge scans. And I'm not beating up the badge scanners. I've talked to some people that have different badge scanners that either from the show or I've talked to vendors and things like that. They're kind of like, well, why do you hate my badge scanner? I'm like, I don't hate your badge scanner. So I don't want to beat that up too much, but they're just not qualified. Then there's a better way of doing it. You can use the badge scanner for everybody that wants to come by and grab a mug. Cool. Scan their badge just so at least you got their information. But those qualified people, this framework we're going to take you through, it's 4 steps. I'm going to take you through the theory of it, and then I'll show it to you in practice. We got some sample images and really how this could work for you real quick. We're only about 10 minutes in, so in about 10, 15 minutes, you'll have exactly what you need to do. Walk away with the framework that you can add on top of your booth, your existing booth. So the first thing is attract people to your booth, and don't attract them with the coolest giveaway. That's kind of expensive, and you still don't know if they are the best person to bring into your booth. Don't rely on the badge scans. Use an interactive magnet. We call them lead magnets. That term really has come around in a digital marketing for like websites and and things online, but it's the same process. We're trying to attract them like a magnet to our booth. So use a lead magnet like a calculator or maybe some type of quiz. And when I say quiz, I don't mean like the BuzzFeed quiz, like what's your favorite cat? I mean like, ask them some questions and show them the best product that was a good fit, or the best service based on where they're at, or something like that. Or maybe an interactive demo. Maybe you have a large, we worked with a company that built fracking trailers. It's a massive trailer. Some shows that actually wheel it in, but most shows you cannot pull a full trailer in. So the next best thing is to do an interactive demo of all the different elements, and you can do that on some type of lead magnet. My favorite is the calculator, because typically the easiest way to get somebody's attention is, how can I save you money? How can I make you more money? How can I, grow your revenue ultimately? And we can do that with a calculator. With a series of 4 or 5 questions, we can draw them in. But the great thing about that is you now have some one-liners that your booth staff can actually use to draw people in. Instead of basically standing there going, hey, the look on people's faces, if you've worked a trade show, if you look around, everybody kind of looks the same. If somebody comes walking by, you got that big old smile, and all you're saying is, can I sell you something? That's how it is. You're holding your flyer. Can I give you a mug so I can sell you something? Let's change that. Because I see a couple of things that happen. A lot of times, if you're an industrial company, manufacturer, even professional services, you often will send the expert to the show. Well, we need our experts there to be able to answer questions. Sometimes that's good. A lot of times that's bad, because they're not salespeople. They may have all of the knowledge in the company, but they're not really salespeople. So they're going to sit in a booth where they should not be. They're going to sit in a chair and hide behind a table, or they're not going to be inviting, and people aren't going to want to come into a booth like that. When you transform it and you have a lead magnet in your booth, I'll show you some images here in just a second to give you an idea. But when you have something that you can draw people in, let's say you can save a company on average $500,000 over the course of a year. Now your experts that are sitting there, they're not typical salespeople that know how to just spark up a conversation with anybody, can say, hey, can I show you how I can save you $500,000 this year? If they're a qualified prospect, because they're going to look at you and go, well, what are you selling? And go, you can save me $500,000. That's a question that's worth answering. Now you've got to draw them into your booth, and your expert doesn't have to have like the best sales pitch ever. They just got to ask them a quick question. Can I save you $500,000 this year? And people will come into that. If they're not interested, if they're not a good fit for your product, they're gonna say, no, I'm not interested, and keep walking. That's okay. We don't want to waste our time on that. We only want to attract people that are interested in our product, because our booth backdrop should say pretty quickly what we do. And a question like that is going to spark some interest. So we attract them into it, and you use the tools to do that attraction, not a giveaway. The good thing about having that tool in your booth and bringing them to that, you get to qualify them. You can ask 2 to 3 key questions. Sometimes if you need a little bit more, it's okay to go like 4 or 5 questions. Don't make it too long. It should be like about a maybe 15 to 30 second process for them to fill out these questions. They should be able to answer them quickly. If they got to pull out their phone to look for something, it's too complicated. We want to just stay high level where they can put in some things they know real quickly and find the answer. So we're going to deliver them value with these lead magnets that we're talking about, like the calculator or a demo, or a product selector, something like that. We're delivering value to them, but at the same time, we're getting information from them. As I say, we don't work with anybody that's doing less than 5 projects a year, for instance. Well, if they put in, how many projects a year do you do? And they put 4. Well, you already know they may be a decent prospect to follow up on. I would recommend it, but they may not be the best qualified prospect. So now our sales team's going to know exactly who to follow up with. But let's say the opposite of that. You say, how many projects? And they go, we do 50 projects a year. That's a hot lead. And the other qualifying information that they've got to enter to be able to process the calculator is all going to help your sales team know how to target them when you come back to you and say, all right, our solution can plug in. You have 50 projects a year. You're spending X amount on each project. Here, we said $500,000. We can actually save you $2 million a year. You want to save $2 million a year? That'd be your sales pitch. So really what we're doing here is we're filtering out a lot of the time wasters to get our staff to focus on it. When you bring them in to say like an iPad on a stand or something like that, as they're filling those things out, the person that's standing there with them needs to pay attention to that. You see they're a hot lead. That's the person that we go, hey, see what we can do. Let me take you over to our expert, and he can actually walk you through this, or she can take you through all of the benefits. And with the information you put in, we can save you a lot more than what I said. but you need to talk to this expert. So now you got your expert talking to somebody that's highly qualified, and you can be closing deals right there, or at least setting up sales meetings right there in the trade show booth, because you know exactly who they are, they're qualified, and you're getting them to the right staff. They don't really hit your qualifications for the best client. You take the information, say, thanks for filling us out. That's going to be emailed to you. By the way, here's your mug. Thanks for stopping by. Let us know if there's anything else we can do for you. Move them along. They've got some information from you, maybe hand them some flyers, and you don't have to waste a lot of time on somebody, but at least you have qualified them more. Once again, they wouldn't stop if they weren't a good prospect. I'm not going to say, qualified, but if they weren't a good prospect, they wouldn't care about what you ask them anyway. But if they are a good prospect, they're going to come in the booth. Now, have we qualified them? Yes, they're not necessarily a good qualified prospect, but they're somebody we should put into our funnel to continue to follow up with after the show, and we can let them go and keep our expert talking to the really good hot leads. The next thing that I see so many people dropping the ball on, and even if you do the badge scanner thing, you got to wait for the show to send that to you. Some of them will maybe send on a daily basis. A lot of times they don't send it to you till after the show and go, oh, here's all your leads. Sometimes they may wait a week or two before they send those to you. So you're sitting there just not capturing any information and hoping that you're going to get all this information from the show or your badge scanner tool. If you are using one of these lead magnets in a digital version, you're capturing information because they got to fill out their information. Well, I want to be able to send the results to you via email. Okay, just put in your name, phone, email, company right here at the end. You hit submit. All this is going to come to you. But now we've captured all that information. We don't need anything in paper. Don't need to keep up with their business cards. All of that stuff's being captured. If you have a CRM, and if you don't, I highly recommend get a CRM today. If you have a CRM, all that can be automatically fed into it, and then you can start smart automated follow-up immediately. But all of that stuff's captured for you. All you have to do is say, hey, let me show you how I can save you $500,000. Bring them in, they fill it out. Everything else is done automatically for you. You focus on getting more people into the booth, filling it out. If they're qualified, getting them talking to your team and your experts, setting up sales meetings. That's what you're there for anyway. Don't waste your time trying to collect the business cards and wonder where we put them and losing them in a bag. I've done all these things. So I'm not making fun of anybody else. I promise you, I've done all of these things. That's why I say, let's not do that anymore. And we found a better framework that works. The last step is on the conversion step. Soon as they fill that out, you now have their information. You should have automation sequences ready to go. Go back to the example I said before. If you meet somebody on the first day and you're not really good about following up, or you just send the generic, hey, it was good to meet you, can we set up a sales meeting email? You're not going to talk to them for a while. But if you set all that up automatically, two great things happen. One, you can start sending follow-ups that are personalized to them without you having to do it. Second day of the show, they get another email from you. Hey, I was just thinking, I want to send over this quick resource for you in the meantime, but until we can get a meeting set up. Send them another PDF automatically. The other great thing about that is because we have qualified them, not just got a badge scan or just got a business card, because they filled out the information, we now can tell them and send more personalized automated follow-up. So for instance, we're talking about, the company may have 50 projects over the year. Well, they're doing a ton. And based on that, you can probably send a different email than you could to the person that's doing 6 or 7 projects. May still be a qualified lead, but maybe their system and their business is completely different. So your emails and your follow-up would be different. All of that can be done, set up before the show and done before you get there. And then it's all done automatically. So you're sending tailored content based on the lead type, speeds up booked meetings, because when you're following up, you're reminding them why they need to do business with you. You're giving them more resources, more information. And ultimately the call to action is, hey, click my link and go ahead and schedule a time to set up a sales meeting. This framework, ultimately, those 3 big leaks that we talked about will solve all of this. Bad leads, you're going to get rid of that. No qualification, you're going to qualify everybody that comes in your booth. And weak follow-up. Everybody does it because there's just so much going on at a trade show. Let's follow up properly. Let's be professional. Let's do it automated. Get the transactional stuff out of the way while you're busy bringing in more leads, and schedule meetings. You get back from the trade show, you have meetings on the books already in your calendar, versus now I got to go do all the follow-up. Now I can do all the voicemails, hope that I can beg somebody to get to a meeting. And then 3 or 4 weeks later, you go, all right, let's move on to the next show. And you're gone. This framework puts all of this in motion almost automatically and really gives you it solves the 3 biggest leaks. So what does this look like? Before the show, you got to build out an interactive magnet. So the calculator, the demo, set up your CRM capture, and the automation. So a lot of those things we're talking about, all that's done before you even get to the show. You don't want to do it after the show. You want to have it in place, ready to go. And as I was saying earlier, none of this affects your booth. You know, say, well, our marketing team already has the booth ready. They've already got our flyers ready. The show's in 6 weeks. I don't know if this is going to work. All of this is very easy to create and roll out and doesn't affect what you already have in place. What it does is it puts these great tools in place for you to add onto your booth so that you can capture those. This is just like a small example. You're talking about calculate your industrial ROI, and this is kind of a sample of a calculator where they just fill out a couple of questions. Hit calculate my potential ROI. They would see results on the next page, fill out their information. It's emailed to them. We capture a lead. We can build this beforehand very quickly. And you can, if you've got a development team, take this to them. Tell them, hey, I need one of these created. And if you're thinking, well, what kind of calculator can I put together? Most of the time when we talk with clients, they have no idea until you say, well, how do you go through your sales process? What's the first thing you ask? If somebody says, I want to do business with you, what's the first thing you ask? That's usually where you start with the calculator. What's your differentiating, your unique selling proposition? Well, we have the best so-and-so and so-and-so. All right, well, what does that do for a client? Well, it can make them an extra $500,000 a year. All right, that's where the calculator is. You show them what you can do through a calculator piece that provides value. That's why I say calculators are my favorite piece. If you really need to show a demo, if they see a demo, they're going to go, all right, this is perfect. I'm going to buy. Then, an interactive demo or something like that will work as well. There's all kinds of options here. It's not limited to just the few that we've said here. In fact, we've got multiple blogs on different types of lead magnets and different styles that work for like professional services or a manufacturer, or something like that. So take a look at our blog if you haven't. Look for some of our lead magnet information. Comment in the chat if you'd like for us to send some of those over. Just say, hey, can you shoot me over some of the lead magnet ideas? We've got a guide that we can send over to you. So during the show, here's just kind of a quick example of how this looks. During the show, your booth staff is inviting visitors into the magnet, asking the qualifying questions on that lead magnet and capturing data directly in the system. This is a real easy setup. So this is a branded iPad stand here. Your lead magnet, everything can be right there in the iPad. And this little thing can really sit in the corner of a 10 by 10 booth. Well, our booth's already full. Where are we going to put it? This is small. Often I like to kind of push it out of the booth space as long as the show doesn't come and tell you, hey, get back in your booth. You just kind of keep getting it out there. I like to get it out into the aisles a little bit so people have to go, well, what is that? I do like to couple it with some type of banner stand or something like that to draw attention to it. So people, besides, who you are and what you offer on like the back of the booth drop. Like if you look at this example, this is a window company. This window company's got a bunch of images showing you windows. It shows me what they do, but it doesn't really tell me anything. In this particular instance, they've got a little bit of wording here on the iPad stand, which is one opportunity to reduce space and real estate in your booth. But if I have a little bit of space to work with, I'll use a bigger banner stand right beside the lead magnet tool that we're using, like the iPad on a stand, to really draw people in. But this gives your booth staff what to say to draw people in. Immediately after scan, all the automation kicks in. Your lead gens are getting personalized email or SMS text within minutes. You're sending your results to them. You're delivering value to them. And then you start trickling emails from that point. It gives you time to get back in the office, break down everything, get back to the office, and then pick up the follow-up after that. I don't think the automation is, the answer to everything, and you're going to have all these booked meetings only from automation. You're going to have some because people are ready to go. But when you're talking about something that might be a 1, 2, 3 year sales cycle, it's going to be a process. But let's not let competitors get in front of them before you get back. Let's not let them forget about you before they get back. Use automation to immediately start talking to them through email, through text. You can send videos automatically. Everybody's talking about AI nowadays. You can use AI videos that can personalize the video to those people yourself, used in AI videos. There's a lot of ways you can deliver additional information and do the nurturing automatically while you're still at the booth, packing up and getting home to even do that follow-up. Post-show, your qualified leads are going to receive the nurture sequence like case studies, ROI examples. You're building your credibility. You should have all these things. So hopefully you have case studies and ROI examples and those kind of things. But you're building this we'll do a nurture sequence where you can send these things out, and then your sales team can really focus on the prioritized list in the CRM because you've got lead scoring that's going on. That's why I recommend a CRM, because it can handle this automation for you. So these are the things that you're going to walk somebody through to be able to get them qualify the lead, draw them into your booth. 1, qualify the lead. 2, capture their information digitally. 3, and then start automation to schedule meetings during the show and post show. Thing is, this is not just a theory, it's a repeatable process, because once you build these pieces for your first show, take them to every single one. Every one you exhibit, you continue to take this same process. You even use it on your website. You can use it in email marketing. Building something like this doesn't just work at trade shows. It works everywhere else as well. And still the same process. You're delivering value to somebody saying, hey, you want to see how we can save you $500,000? You can put that on a social media post, on an ad, etc. But you're attracting, but it creates a system. Because remember what we said earlier, it's not necessarily that the trade show is what's failed. It's not the trade show itself or even the attendees or the booth or anything like that. It's the system to capture leads that's not really working for you. You may not have one. Most of the people that we don't have a system. Like, we showed up. This creates a repeatable process that anybody in your company can really go and work the booth and can be trained to do that very quickly on how to draw them in. You're attracting the right leads. You're qualifying them on the spot. You capture clean data, and then you're converting them with immediate personalized follow-up. Every company has pipeline leaks like this. Every company really has some trade show leaks. We have to do audits of ourselves. We do this all the time for clients. We have to turn around and look at ourselves and go, all right, where are our leaks? And they continue to change, and they continue to come up. If you perfect, say, the lead magnet and everything at a trade show booth, the next leak might be, what's our automation and our follow-up? Let's test those and do a better job with that. And so what we have actually built is a revenue and ROI blueprint. We have multiple levels of audits that are available. Because if you're seriously going, all right, this makes sense, it sounds good, but I don't know where all of my leaks are, I want to see where all of them are, we actually have a revenue and ROI blueprint where we do a full diagnostic of your entire funnel. If trade shows are your main lead generator source, then we're obviously going to analyze that. If you're also doing other channels, we analyze all of it. How are you getting people into your system? And we call them a funnel. It's kind of a digital marketing term, but at the top of it, how are people finding out about you? How are you driving traffic to yourself? How are you converting them? Now they're converting to a lead. How are you selling them? What's your conversion rates? All of those pieces. So we go through a complete diagnosis of your funnel, and then we identify all the missed opportunities in your existing funnel. We build a clear roadmap of exactly what you need to do to be able to increase your leads from, say, trade shows. Now, once we have leads, how are we getting those into sales? And we build out all of those immediate fixes to get you going. We prioritize your roadmap and exactly what to fix, kind of low-hanging fruit to things that are going to take a little bit longer to these are going to be long-term strategies. So tackle these first, tackle these next, tackle these, and you see growth opportunities along the way with them. And then a lot of our clients, or a lot of people that we work with, or what happens after the audit? So you actually, it's in our list here, it's $1,500. It's very extensive. We audit. We spend a lot of hours, and most of our team is involved in that audits. We're delivering an actual product to you with it. It's not just like a quick sales pitch by any means. You can take that and run with it with your own teams, your own developers, your own marketing team, your own marketing agencies. This whole thing is delivered to where really anybody can take and go, this is what we need to do, and put that into action. If you're an existing client or you want to work with us, we will actually credit this $1,500 to those changes. You say, hey, I love it. I see what you're saying. I completely agree. I want to implement it, and I want you guys to do it too. All right, great. We're going to take this audit cost and just actually apply that credit straight into those fixes and the things that we need to do to improve your funnel. We do have a lot of people who say, hey, I don't know if I'm ready to jump into that. I want just kind of a quick audit, see if there's anything that, maybe you can identify quickly. I don't know you guys that well. I want to see what you can come up with. We do also have a free audit. It's a quick check. You say, hey, I want you to audit maybe our trade show. We can take a look at that. If you don't have this framework in place, or maybe you have one of 4 of the items in place, we'll do an audit of what is working, what we would recommend. And it's the same thing. We're going to give you a quick blind spot finder. Like, these are things that, like, literally us just looking at this, I can tell you, do these 3 things right here, put them in action. Within 24 hours, you're going to do better at trade shows. You're going to be happier with your marketing. And then it also kind of gives you an idea if a full blueprint makes sense. We have had clients say, hey, I want to do an audit. You go through it and say, hey, man, you're doing everything great. If you just improve these 3 things right here, go fix those things, you're going to be in a great spot. But a lot of times you say, hey, we've seen these issues here, and I can see there's a deeper issue from here to here to here to here. Let's do a full blueprint, do the full audit, and is that way you've got a better roadmap for the next 90 days to 12 months of what you need to implement to really improve your sales. And most of the time, I mean, you're going to improve drastically on converting traffic to leads and then converting leads to sales. So because it takes so many hours of what we have to do for the full blueprint, we can only do 10 of them a month. So we do have a capacity there. So if something that you're wanting to do soon, I recommend jumping on board here. We've got a link right here, blueatlasmarketing.com/blueprint. If you go to that, you get more details about exactly what's covered in it, a full list of deliverables and everything, so you can really get a better idea of what we're going to do in the audit. But we do can only do so many a month, and that actually goes for the free audit as well. We only have so many time that we can do the audits, because once we do those audits, most of our clients say, hey, let's implement this. And that all takes all of our team as well. So I highly recommend, if you're serious, let's go straight to the blueprint. Let's get your audit in place. It's a small fee to be able to audit your entire sales and marketing system in funnel. And then you get a deliverable and a roadmap of what to do. And so many people I talk to, they're like, man, we need to increase our sales. I just really don't know what to do to increase sales. I'll do it, just don't know what it is. That's what this audit will actually show you. If you want to see some quick checks and get some quick wins, free audit's a great place to start. If you want to do the free audit, message us in the chat, or reach out to us on the website and say, hey, I want to do that free audit you were talking about on the webinar. I want to start there, see what you guys can come up with. Let's see if this makes sense for us. But here's the thing. Either way, you're on this webinar because you feel like your trade show could be doing better. So either way, take action today. One of the audits. Look at this framework. Go back through it. We'll send out a replay where you'll be able to see the replay. Take the time, pause it, go through it and go, how do we implement these 4 steps of this framework? Take some action today, because you're probably doing a trade show soon. If not, 2026 is going to be here pretty soon. You're going to be going through all of your trade shows there. Every month you wait means more money left on the floor. And that's it. That's all I've got for you today. Just a little bit over 30 minutes. So thanks for joining us. My name is Nate Stockard with Blue Atlas Marketing. If you have any questions, feel free to post anything here in the chat, or reach out to us. We're happy to help you. The biggest thing for us is, if you go to our blog, you'll see we are full of resources. We want to share as much of this information as possible. And if you need help implementing them, that's what Blue Atlas is here for. We can help you across the board. We're a full service agency, but we like to provide those resources so people understand what to do. And that's why we have these audits. Because once you understand what to do, then you know what we're doing if you ask us to help you. And you're not following blind. Going, well, I hope they know. You know what we're doing. We're just helping you implement it. We're doing the heavy lifting. So thanks for joining us today. Well, why most trade shows leads never turn into sales. And if you want to see some of our other webinars, just go to blueatlasmarketing.com/webinars, and you'll see all of our upcoming webinars. We've got great topics from trade shows, what to do on your website, why it's not converting traffic, what's happening when you do get a lead with the first 48. That's kind of a fun show, but first 48 hours really matter when you get a new lead. In a lot of instances, it's the first 48 minutes. So the first 48, we've got a webinar on that coming up soon. So blueatlasmarketing.com/webinars. Check out our webinars coming up to see how you can improve your sales and marketing process and make more money this year. Thanks for joining us.